Hello, Lindsay. How are you?
Hey there, Aubrey. I'm feeling really good. The sun is shining today in Denver, so all good. Yeah.
Nice question for you here.
Yeah.
When did you last stay in a hotel?
Oh, probably super recently. I stayed in a hotel in Louisville a few weekends ago. Two different hotels
Nice.
actually. Yeah, both were good.
Fancy or kind of mid?
I'm very low maintenance when it comes to hotels. I do not need fancy. I love a good breakfast included. I love a good
Same.
mid-range hotel, like what is it, like a Hampton Inn?
Yes.
Just clean.
Why is it that the more expensive the hotel,
The less you get, 100%.
the less
Yes.
likely you are to get a good free breakfast,
or
at least
or
in the
extra
States.
cool things. It's so true.
I don't get
if
it.
you stay
I've
at a
thought about
JW
this.
Marriott, you will not get a free breakfast.
Nothing. No, they're like, here's your $50 breakfast if you choose to buy it.
That's why
But a
I
night like
love-
Hampton Inn, amazing breakfast.
And often those are really clean hotels, like the mid-range hotels. So I like to go for those.
I agree. Not an ad. We love Hampton Inn. I agree.
I have some friends though that would never stay in a Hampton Inn. They require the high end, and I'm like, why? I don't get it.
No.
But anyways, everyone has their
You and
preferences.
I are like-minded here.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the reason we're bringing this up is that you could definitely be asked on Speaking Part 1 about a recent hotel stay. You could also be asked to describe the experience on Speaking Part 2. Travel comes up a lot.
Yes.
And you could be specifically asked about the hotel. So you need high-scoring vocabulary and ideas.
Yeah, and even if you haven't recently stayed in a hotel, this is where we go to making up stories, making up examples. So we
Totally.
do need that vocab. So that's what we're getting into today. But guys, before we do anything else, make sure you hit that follow button right there on IELTS Energy, your podcast player. If you're listening on YouTube, which you could be watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. All right.
Yeah, so let's first share just a few common IELTS Part 1 questions. These have come up on past exams. Do you often stay in hotels when you travel? What kind of hotels do you prefer, budget or luxury? What else, Lindsay?
What facilities do you look for when choosing a hotel? Yeah. Or how important is hotel location to you? These are all very approachable questions, I think.
Absolutely. And it also comes up often on Part 2. You might be asked, describe a memorable hotel experience you've had or describe a recent vacation, which would be very easy to use all of this vocabulary when describing any vacation. You had to stay somewhere.
Yes, love it. Love it. And then, so what would be some really brilliant high level band 9 vocab, Aubrey, that we could insert into this kind of question?
Yeah. So the vocab here is more for the nicer hotels, right? So for example, luxurious, which could describe the hotel, the room, the amenities, the bedding, right? It just means extremely comfortable, can be like elegant or fancy.
Yeah, but remember, keep in mind, we're going to give you some high-end words, but if you're like us and you prefer the mid-range hotels, you can always use not luxurious. It wasn't exactly luxurious, right?
Totally,
You can
right?
still
For
sneak
all
that
of
in.
these, you can just say it wasn't this.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes, and then impeccable would be another.
I'm going to give one example
Okay,
sentence
yes,
here.
please
You
do.
could say like, the hotel suite was so luxurious that I didn't want to leave my room.
Yes.
But like Lindsay said, if you're sharing about a budget hotel, you'd be like, it wasn't exactly luxurious, but it was comfortable.
Exactly. Then we could say impeccable, which I think is great because I'm sure this doesn't come up with a lot of other candidates. That's why it's going to get you that band 9. No one else is saying this, guys.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep. I don't know that I've ever heard a student say this or not often. And it's very flexible. It means like perfect, flawless, no mistakes. So it could be about a hotel, a vacation, someone's work, like a book, anything that you just think was perfect. Don't say perfect, say impeccable.
Yes, just insert this word in instead of perfect. The hotel staff provided impeccable service throughout our stay. All right.
Yeah, so just extremely impressive. Anything, right? You could say the views of the ocean were impeccable.
Yes.
It's just a pretty flexible band 9 word that you should be able to add on any speaking exam.
State of the art would be the next one. And this just means they're using the latest technology. So what was state of the art in the 80s is no longer state of the art now, of course, right?
Good point. A lot of hotel gyms are not state of the art when
most
they
of
just
them are
have
not.
like an old treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it's like 2 treadmills, 1 weight bench.
Maybe an elliptical if you're
Yeah,
lucky, a
yeah.
few free weights.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
The gym in the hotel was state of the art with the latest machines and equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, this reminds me, my husband recently on a business trip was hoping to do a Peloton ride, and he was excited because he has like a year streak. He's done a ride every day for a year, which is so impressive.
Yeah, really impressive.
And there were 4 Peloton bikes at this gym, so he's excited. And then he went to try to use them, and they were all broken. None of them were working.
That's so disappointing.
So you could just, pedal on it, but the screen was not working.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Not state of the art.
Not state of the art. What would be another one, Aubrey?
So charming means like pleasantly attractive, cozy, welcoming. So often we'll use this more for like quaint bed and breakfasts or like cute little cottages, right? You might say, we stayed in a charming boutique hotel that had vintage decor.
Yeah.
Right? So you're imagining, usually it's a little older, but still pretty nice.
It also could be used to talk about the town that the hotel was in. If you do find yourself, you want to address the question directly, but if you are giving more context and you're expanding out, you could do that too. Right, Aubrey?
Absolutely. However you describe the hotel, you could then say it was in a charming little town by the sea or located near the train station. Absolutely. Once you've answered the question, share anything related.
Yes, perfect. And then first class. Now, as an adjective, this doesn't mean like the first class section of the airline, right? It just means top quality or excellent. Right. So
exactly. An experience can be first class. You could even call a person first class. You just mean they're like excellent in some way.
Good manners or just really impeccable. Hey, there you go. In terms of the way they live their lives, maybe. I always try to book a first class hotel for our anniversary, just a high end hotel. Right.
Exactly. So maybe not the Hampton Inn.
Maybe
it's
not.
first class enough
there are
for me,
occasions.
but this is
there are occasions.
This is more of those fancy hotels that might be a little nicer than you're used to staying in.
Exactly. And then we have an idiom.
And then we have an idiom. Jinx.
Jinx. Yeah, jinx. This idiom is a cut above the rest. I love this. I wish I used this more often. This means it's just better than the competition, right?
So, for example, the hotel I stayed in last summer in Toronto was a cut above the rest. So this means it was better than anywhere nearby, better than their competition. But if you find yourself about to say like better than the other places I saw, replace it with this idiom for much higher vocabulary scores.
So smart. It just tells you how strategic we have to be on IELTS. And that means we've prepared in depth before going into the test, Aubrey, right?
Yes. And this is pretty flexible. It doesn't just have to be about hotels. A city could be a cut above the rest. A restaurant, anything that you want to say is better than the competition, better than the other choices.
Yes.
Use this idiom.
Love it. All right. We are back from break. Are we going to do some samples, some examples of good answers here, Aubrey?
Yes, we're going to give you 3 Band 9 answers for part 1 questions. Okay. So I'll ask you the first one here, Lindsay, and we're going to use this vocabulary we've taught you today to show how it could be used in some of these answers. Ready?
Yeah, here's the first question. Oh, you want to ask me first?
Oh, yeah, go ahead and ask me.
Okay, we'll switch it. Okay. What type of hotel do you choose when you travel, Aubrey?
Well, whenever possible, I opt for hotels that are a cut above the rest because, of course, I value comfort and high quality service. I especially appreciate places where staff members show impeccable attention to detail, from the cleanliness of the room to even small touches that make the stay memorable. I feel like that really enhances the overall travel experience.
Oh, good vocabulary you snuck in there. I heard a cut above the rest, right? You said you tend to choose the hotels that are a bit better. Then you said you used the word impeccable, right? Impeccable attention to detail. That's a great use of that word, right?
Yes, I agree, right? So flexible. You can use this, start throwing this into your speaking answers because you should be able to use this on test day.
Nice.
But also a band 9 phrasal verb here is I opt for. Most students will say I choose,
right,
or I get, or I take, or, opt for is much less common. So if you can use this as well, right? Oh, I opt for hotels that are a cut above the rest. Yep. That's also band 9 because it's more rare.
Exactly. Again, your route to that band 7, 8, or 9, guys, is thinking, what is everyone else going to say? Say something different. Replace that word with a better word. Okay. Rare word. Okay.
Let's have you do this one because I'm going to answer about Cape May for this number too. So, Lindsay, what facilities do you look for when choosing a hotel?
I try to stay at hotels with first-class facilities, honestly, such as, for example, I like to see a modern gym or a high-quality restaurant. For me, having state-of-the-art tech in the room, like fast Wi-Fi, also really enhances my experience there. just a ton. On top of that, it's definitely a bonus if there's something luxurious like a sauna or a steam room, for example.
Oh, yes. That's always such a bonus when
Yeah.
there's like a pool with a sauna or
Yeah.
a steam room. And I don't usually look up amenities or facilities ahead of time. So
Right.
it's always a surprise
Yeah.
to me what they have. What about
Yeah.
you? Do you look that up ahead
I
of
don't
time?
look it up. I don't know. I don't have the
either.
time. I just,
I'm like, oh, a sauna.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
What a surprise.
Or if they have sometimes, if you go skiing, sometimes places will have like an outdoor hot tub in the winter. It's kind of cool. That's fun. That's a fun part of like outdoor winter life, right?
Yes, but you used a lot of this great vocab
yes.
here. You said, first class facilities such as a modern gym, and then state of the art tech. And then you gave examples, right? Fast Wi-Fi. So this is the best way to add details is to like name it, right?
Yes.
Oh, state of the art tech, but then share a few examples.
Love it. And then I also said luxurious. It's definitely a bonus if there's something luxurious like a sauna or a steam room. Nice.
Yes. And it is interesting. These adjectives do have specific meaning, right? You would never call like Wi-Fi luxurious,
No.
even though we think of it as a luxury.
Yeah.
Luxurious means more comfortable.
Self-care.
Or something that, self-care, something that makes you feel pampered.
Yeah.
Is luxurious.
I'm thinking so sauna, steam room, maybe free massage. I've never seen that at a hotel, but I'm sure some do offer it.
That'd be quite the bonus, right?
Anything like that that's helping you to take care of yourself, right? Your health.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, so Aubrey, you wanted to answer the next question. So here it is. Can you describe a memorable hotel experience you've had?
Yes, I will never forget a trip we took to Cape May when I was living in New York. We stayed at a small, charming boutique hotel, but everyone was incredibly friendly, and the room had this exceptional view of the mountains. It really felt like a home away from home and just had this very welcoming atmosphere. Not only that, it was super cheap, shockingly cheap.
Nice. Love it. Good answer. Very specific answer. Super important, obviously, to be very specific in your answer. You'll get better vocab. And you pulled out charming boutique hotel, something we heard. I also heard a home away from home. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a great idiom, right? For a place where you feel so comfortable that you feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
We'll say it's a home away from home.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time I accidentally drove to Cape May? Because it's all the way at the bottom of Jersey, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was trying to drive to 95 South, like to Virginia from my home in New Hampshire back to college. And somehow I got on, I don't know if it's the Jersey
road.
Turnpike or the wrong road. It took me all the way down the state of New Jersey and like way out of the way. And by the time I got to Cape May, I looked around, I was like, I'm at the ocean. What's going on?
Right. Well, on the plus side, you got to see Cape May, which is the cutest little
It's very
town, like
cute.
lighthouses on the beach.
Yeah.
But that would not be fun
No.
if you drove all that way out the wrong way.
That wasn't good, but it is a good little destination if our listeners are living
sure.
in New York or Philadelphia, maybe, for
Yes.
example. Yeah.
Great weekend trip. Absolutely.
All
But
right,
guys,
Aubrey.
all of this vocabulary, is about places that are a cut above the rest, right? Impeccable. You may have more experiences that were budget friendly or even disappointing.
Yes.
So we're going to do a part 2 of this series with Band 9 vocabulary to describe those places that are more practical, budget friendly, or even disappointing experiences.
Yes.
Because you certainly don't have to share positive experiences. You might be able to have more interesting intonation sharing about a disastrous trip.
It's more fun, I think. Right? When we go into the disastrous trip, for sure. And so that episode will be coming up very soon, right? It'll be coming up pretty soon.
Yes. Yeah. Next week.
Next
I think.
week.
So yeah, be
Okay.
sure to hit follow if you guys haven't, because that's going to have some great vocabulary as well. And, as a takeaway here, a lot of these words are very flexible. They're not just for trips, hotels, vacations.
Right.
You could use them for a lot of different answers.
Yeah.
So start using these on your practice IELTS questions.
All right. Great advice. And this is the way to that band 7, 8, or 9, guys, to get past IELTS. All right. Good stuff today, Aubrey. I'll see you back here in the next episode. All right.
Awesome. See you next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.